Hello, smart people out there. Welcome to the third chapter, the Linux shell. In this tutorial, we'll be learning about what is a shell and what is the difference between a shell and the terminal. By the end of this chapter, you will be having a clear idea of how a Linux shell is different from the Linux terminal. And also you will be knowing how the commands that we type in the terminal are related to the shell. You will also be having an in-depth knowledge of what's happening when you are using the terminal, like you are typing any command and what actually happens in the background. So you will be actually able to picturize the entire scenario once you complete this chapter. So the first thing we should be knowing is what is the actual relation between a command and a shell. A command is just like a text that we type in the terminal, but the meaning of that text is interpreted by the shell. So we can say that a shell is a program that takes the commands from the keyboard and it gives to the operating system to perform. Taking an example, like if I'm writing table lamp, so if you are using the shell, which is a French shell, so the French shell may interpret this table lamp as a mango. But if you use the actual English shell, the table lamp, then it will interpret and give the output as a table lamp. So you might be now thinking, what is the use of the terminal, where you open the terminal and you type the commands, right? This terminal is actually a window to the shell. Just consider a scenario where I'm asking you to write any command without opening the terminal. Will you be able to do that? No, you will not be able to do that. So what you require? You require the terminal to do that. So you can say that this terminal is just like a program that opens a window and lets you to interact with the shell. There are a bunch of different terminal emulators which you can use, like I showed you in the first video. The bash shell. Actually, people, there are a lot of shells which are available in the Linux operating system because Linux is having a multiple distributions. But one of the Linux systems which is called a bash, which stands for the born again shell, which is actually an enhanced version of the original Unix shell program sh. This acts as the main shell program which is used in the most of the Linux operating systems. And you might be having any distribution, you most probably deal with only the bash shell. So that's all for this chapter. So just to summarize, we got to know in this chapter that commands are just text that you enter into the terminal, but these texts are interpreted by a program which is called the shell. The shell which we use in Linux operating system mostly is the bash shell, and the commands can be interpreted different by different shells. And the terminal is just a platform or a window which opens for the shell to interpret, which is actually used for typing the commands and pressing enter so that the shell can take that command and go to the operating system and give the operating system directions to take action accordingly. Up in the next chapter, we'll be having a more understanding of the commands, we'll be working with more commands, and we'll be knowing how the commands are structured. So that's all. I'll be seeing you in the next video.